war is hell. Well, in real life it is. In video game form, it's actually pretty fun. Besides FPS and RTS, the most common form of wargame is turn-based strategic combat. But with North and South, we have an action strategy game with a good dose of humor. You can play as the North or the South, play against a computer or a second player, or even watch two computers play each other. Each side can set to 3 levels of proficiency if you feel the need to give out handicaps or turn up the difficulty. In the middle there are 3 icons that can be turned on or off. The Indian adds the possibility of Indians at some time during the game charging in and destroying one battalion on either side. Second is weather, and if weather occurs, some of your troops will get stunned in battle. Last is reinforcements, which makes a ship sail in randomly and give out another troop to either side for free, which of course helps. These options, along with the 4 years between 1861 to 1864, allows the game's variables to be mixed up quite a bit, so that you don't have to fight the same fights every time, which adds some nice replay value. It's also fun, albeit pointless, to click the photographer's ass. 8-bit sexual harassment. The setting is a map of the eastern half of the United States, which looks somewhat accurate to my eyes, even though the shape of Texas is a bit messed up. Here you have your troops and the enemies. You can think of the flags as your bases, and the objective is to conquer all of the enemy's bases. Between 2 of the bases on either side runs a railroad, and after every turn a train runs between, which adds money bags to your safe, and at 5 bags you get a new battalion. Taking over the base at the end of the railroad is a priority, so that you can stop the enemy from getting new troops. But it's not as easy as that, because at those spots lie fortresses. When you try to take over one of these, it changes to a minigame where you have to run to the end and switch their flag to yours before the time runs out. The clock representing the time limit, and the ratty shoe representing you. In the way are a limited number of enemy soldiers throwing knives and punching you, and an unlimited but random number of angry dogs and explosives that trip you up. What gets a bit annoying is that you're under time pressure, but these can't be jumped over. At least I've never done it. You can run along the ground or on the walls, but certain spots will force you to drop down, prompting you to climb a ladder and get back up, losing some precious time. You're invincible during this stage, but when you run out of time, the soldier cries like a baby, and you don't get to take over the base. When you intercept the money train, which starts with you trying to catch up to the train. Catching up to it can be difficult, but once you're on it, it's not that hard. Just remember that A jumps and B attacks. What about the actual warfare then? Well, when you send one of your battalions onto the enemies, shots are fired and you're taken into a battle screen. On each side there are 3 groups, the cannon, the horsemen and the infantry. You press A to switch between the groups and B to attack. The cannon can only move up and down and attack by holding B and letting go to shoot. How long the cannonball will travel depends on how long you held it in, visualized by the meter on the screen. The horsemen attack with swords, but keep in mind that once you select them they can't stop moving. You can press left to slow them down and change formation, but other than that it's a kamikaze type of attack. The infantry can be freely controlled, can change formations and have infinite ammo. Of course this all ends when one side is wiped out. Whatever remains of the victor is sent back to the map, and when you attack the next time only these survivors battle again, which can make it a hopeless fight, but you can merge battalions to make up for that. The backgrounds where you fight aren't always the same. Sometimes there are rivers or canyons there too, which unfortunately dooms some of the soldiers because you can't form that thin of a line to get across those bridges. The graphics are good and colorful. Sure, the troops on the battlefields are pretty small, but I for one never had a problem with it. The music is very nice and upbeat too, featuring many renditions of Americana, like the national anthems of both sides and that trumpet solo on the intro screen. North and South is a very fun game to play, which mixes strategy and action very well, and I think it's quite underrated. It's fun alone, it's fun with a friend, and I bet it's super fun if you're one of those people who think that the Confederacy will rise again.